What's up, guys? As you can see, I found a breadstick at the poker table, but it's not a great situation. The breadstick basically being the opposite of the Oreo, where you have a good hand and you're screwed. And we're gonna get to the bottom of this breadstick and the bottom of this hand, as well as find out how to get out of this hand or play this hand in such a way to lose the smallest amount of money and play it in the best way possible. Let's find out.
How do you become Jungleman?
All right, so he 3-bets me. What do? I decide to 4-bet. Yeah, this hand's a bit on the borderline. It's a reasonable 4-bet. And I hadn't 4-bet him at all in any of the matches at all. So I thought it was a good time to 4-bet him. I had another idea in my head. And yeah, so I decided to take a shot at this guy. And so he tanks forever. And guess what? He decides to call. We're going to lower the volume a little bit. You don't need to listen to the announcers. Tanks. What do you know he calls? I make it 1.4 to his 600. That's what I do. Okay, flop is not fantastic. I could have decided to bet the flop. Queen high boards tend to not be ideal. There should be lots of checks in the 4-bet range on these flops, including traps, by the way. You can absolutely trap plenty of hands when they check to you. Yeah, I decided to check in this board. I have not a very good hand to barrel with. Not a whole lot of blocker potential. Not a whole lot of anything going on. So yeah, just check. You can hit it quite a bit. He kind of does hit it, matter of fact. If I bet, he's supposed to call with this hand with the backdoor draw. He tanks and checks. Takes 10 minutes to tank, to check. And then the turns of jack. He turns second pair. Okay, so he tank. Checks again. That's reasonable. Some people like to bet it there, but he likes to check. I'm a little bit surprised he checks, but not that surprised. Maybe like 10% surprised. Anyway, so I got ace-8. If we're really honest, I don't have a low shot to win this pot. And I thought he may overfold in this spot. So I decided to go ahead and bet 1.2 into 2.8. And still not like a fantastic spot for me. I just decide, there's a good chance he folds, do some amount of things. I can't give the full explanation, but it's an okay spot. There's a good chance he does have a jack, though, which is not ideal for me. I don't know if he ends up folding this if I bet 2 streets. That being said, I can have lots of king, queen, ace, queen. If I decide to slow play, it's totally reasonable slow play those sorts of hands. I can theoretically have kings. I can have even like flush draws. I decide to check back, which is a rare thing, to be honest, but it's totally doable. Set of queens, that's another thing. I can have ace jack myself, if we're really honest. That's another possible play. I could even have king jack, but he beats those, so those are not ideal. And actually what comes, first of all, he does call me, and actually what comes might be a good card in a way if I was to bluff the river, and he might not fold. But it's an ace, which is very good for his range because he could maybe have ace king or ace 10 with the spade, that kind of thing. He can have this too. He could, with the way he plays, he might have king 10, I guess. And now actually a lot gets there. It doesn't really look like I have an ace in my range. It's not really clear what I've got, to be honest, from his perspective. And yeah, so his lead, he ends up leading here, which is really a very interesting play. I think it's a decent play. I think there's a really good shot I or most people check back. It's really hard. Like I said, it's real hard to give me a range here. That's the only thing, because after I bet the turn, I might have things like ace king. I might have hands like this. I might have an ace jack. I might have just some jack 10, I guess. Some jack X, some king queen. I definitely don't want to bet it with king queen. Who says I bet the turn with an ace? It's not really a common play. And I might check with a lot of the things I just mentioned. With ace king, maybe not. But with many of the other things, I'd probably check even if I did have an ace. If I had like this, I was thinking to check, matter of fact. So his play is actually kind of good. Hits his range. Isn't fantastic for mind. And, he can totally have bluffs. He could turn like a pair into a bluff, that kind of thing. So really what it came down to was if he had enough of those, and if he turns enough of those into bluffs. So I started counting the 9s through 8s and 10s. He doesn't have all of them. He only has half of them. because he needs them with a spade, probably. I don't think that he calls nines without a spade. He can have Jack 10 too. That's another thing. He doesn't have loads of those. He has Jack 10 of diamonds, clubs, and hearts, right? He could have flushes too. That's another thing. So if I'm thinking about value bets, I need to think about that. I need to think about hands like Ace Jack. I need to think about hands like King 10. Ace Jack, King 10, and flushes. That's quite a few combos, and it's more than those pairs of bluffs I just mentioned. Could, I guess, have 8-7 suited. That's not too likely. And I guess he can have like Ace 10 with like some kind of spade. That's possible. That would add like, I guess, not quite. It wouldn't add half the combos because I've got an ace myself, so I'd have to count. It adds like maybe a third of the combos. In which case, he's kind of close to balance. He would still be bluffing too much if he bluffed all of his pairs. And I just decided that I didn't really think he had like pocket nines or something like that. And so I went in the tank. I used up all my time banks. Now, if I thought that he was bluffing really any chance he got here, I'd just have to call him. 8-7 suited, by the way, I blocked one combo because I have the 8 of clubs. He can't have 8-7 suited with the 8 of clubs. I don't think he necessarily calls that on the turn anyway. So I have to decide which of those he's turning into bluffs. If any of them. He could, I guess, be turning King Jack into a bluff. I didn't think of that one, or at least didn't mention it in my current analysis. So really it comes down to, what is he turning into bluffs? Does he think King Jack or Jack 10 is not good in the first place? Like, you might just think those hands win. You just think about all those kinds of things. And it's also a big bet. Well, it's not too big in terms of relative to the pot. Yeah, hem and haw. Not a good situation. This is not a situation you want to be in, guys. It does matter that if I call, I get knocked out. So there's a little bit of ICM pressure because there's some opportunities later on in the hand. So tank. Fast forward the tanking. I don't think you guys are going to want to watch me tank. It's not usually something that people want to watch. Oh yeah, whip out the breadstick. This is the breadstick for when you're losing. The breadstick tell, and I fold correctly.
Hi guys, I'm Dan Cates, and you may know me from poker as Jungleman. And now I'd like to give you the keys to that success so that you can have success in those games as well, and in fact win the game of life. And that begins with freedom.
And you want to have the community to help you to get there. Join the Jungleverse now. We've got many of the tools and many of the links towards the best stuff that's out there in the poker market, and I'm committed to helping you guys become real champions of the game and make your dreams come true. That's my goal for you all. Join here. I'm helping us all work together to make a better future for everyone. So because of all this, guys, remember, when there's a breadstick around, maybe you should consider folding. It's a tell from the universe that your hand's not good. And yeah, you got to think through all the possibilities and if they're bluffing or not. That's another thing, because even if he's got enough combos of bluffs, doesn't mean that he's bluffing a lot with those combos. And in any case, we don't really know that he's bluffing with all those combos because he just had it and jams all in. So it's ended up working out for me. It would have been a lot uglier if he just showed me pocket nines and whipped that in my face. But looking at it, it appears that I made the correct decision with this hand. In spite of rivering top pair, I had to now fold it. It looked like my hand got better, but it did not at all. But yeah, that's about it, guys. You can also sim this spot with GTO Wizard. I can take a look at that there. It's a very powerful tool. See what it thinks. Also with the delayed bluffs for the turn. I'd be very curious to see its thought process on that. I know for an absolute fact it does not c-bet this board 100%. I have looked at that. The queen high boards are really, really not too great to bet too much, because I just have loads of queens, the callers with 4-bet, that is. But yeah, I'll give it a breakdown in GTO Wizard later. Any other feedback, let me know, guys. Join the Jungleverse and conquer the world together. Thank you for watching.